Hello, Cheers to Business listeners. I'm Ashley Smith, Vice President of Wholesale Pharmacy for DocRX and listener of Cheers to Business. And I want to tell you about the great company I work for. DocRX is a family-oriented company dedicated to tailor operational solutions for patient health and compliance programs that increases the quality and efficiency of patient-centered care, and always with the mission of the patient's health first. With over 10 years of experience helping doctors and their patients with diagnostic tests, patient monitoring, medical supplies, compliance, wholesale pharmacy, physician, dispensing, billing, and much more. DocRx is your patient and health compliance solution, both under one roof. To find out how DocRx can help you, your hospital, pharmacy, physician's offices, and any PPE you need for your businesses, please visit us at docrx.com. That's docrx.com, docrx.com. Now enjoy the show. We do PPE, which has been really big this year.
Now that's the COVID stuff, right? Masks, gloves.
Yes. So I didn't realize I'd become a PPE expert this year, but I've learned so much just from the pandemic.
Can you tell us some popular groups that have bought PPE from you guys?
We actually sold to the Boston Celtics through the pandemic. I had someone reach out and they're like, I'm trying to get masks. No, it's for a professional sports team. And I'm just curious. I'm like, who? And they're like, the Boston Celtics. I was like, that's cool.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Today we have Ashley Smith with DocRx on. You know, when you sell to clinics all over the nation and they close due to a pandemic, what do? Well, we've been talking about looking for opportunities, and Ashley Smith and her team and the people at DocRx did just that. We're going to talk about how they saw a way to not only keep their doors open, but to keep other offices open as well. Hey, I'm Karen. I'm a former CPA, entrepreneur, business consultant with big ideas.
Welcome to Cheers to Business.
Ashley Smith, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
What is DocRx?
So DocRx is a licensed manufacturer, wholesaler, and distributor of healthcare products and services for hospitals, pharmacies, and physicians. Our mission is simple: ensure patients receive the best possible care no matter what.
So what do you do at DocRx?
So I actually am the vice president of our wholesale pharmacy division. We have medical supplies under there, repackaged medication. We put all that stuff at our warehouse in Alabama and just ship it out to clinics. So.
And that includes PPE?
Includes PPE, yes. And we also have rapid flu tests and many other tests.
Hey, what's PPE stand for?
Do you want to know something funny? I didn't even know what it stood for. I had clinics, they're like, do you have PPE? My friend I Googled PPE. What does that mean? Personal protective equipment.
Okay, good to know.
Yes.
I just heard PPE all over the place.
And it's so funny, we just throw that around now like it's nothing. Like, you got some PPE? Do you have PPE? I prior to the pandemic, never heard PPE.
You know, one reason I wanted to have you on the show, but I'd like the listeners to know that I work for DocRx, you work for DocRx. DocRx sponsors this show, so I want it all plain out there. You're not here because DocRx sponsors. You're here because I've been watching develop something that I've always believed, and that you've got to stop doing things the same way if you want different results or when tragedy happens, to look for opportunities. And so what was the jump start for that for you guys?
For finding the opportunity through this pandemic?
Yeah.
Because Brian asked me to do it.
And that's Brian Ward, the owner, right?
Yes, that's correct. He just I woke up to a text message that was like, do we have masks? And I'm like, I think some of our vendors have some. I can check. I need masks. Got it. So those masks turned into gloves and sanitizer and gowns, everything. Brian has always challenged me, and I love a good challenge. So I was like, if Brian needs a mask, I'm going to find him some masks. We actually worked with a local company here, Caligaz, and they provided our face shields, which was really neat.
I had him on the show.
Did you really?
Yeah, he did. He came on the show and talked about when he was right after it happened and hit the news, and the mayor and all that, and how he had taken his printing company and was making face shields.
We wanted to help a local company out. I love supporting, any other businesses that are small businesses, especially in the same city as us. So, we could have bought from other people, but They were really nice to work with. I mean, they would make our face shields and they would personally deliver them over to DocRx, which I thought was really neat. Yeah,
no, that is cool. That's a cool part of the story.
Yeah. So, and then it went from, how prior to the pandemic, the model for DocRx on medical supplies was we worked with other vendors and they would drop ship, which basically means, we would order with them and they would ship it directly to our clinics. That just didn't work really well at the beginning of this because everyone's supply and stock was all over the place.
Right.
So if we had a clinic that needed 10 boxes of masks and I ordered from our normal vendors, it may or may not ship. Or it would, be a back order or something. So we just couldn't work like that. DocRx really values quick turnaround, awesome customer service. And I didn't feel like we could provide that when we didn't even have the tracking number for the product.
Right.
That's why I went around and purchased in bulk and got it all shipped to our 3PL here in the state, Alabama. And I knew our stock. I have a close relationship with our warehouse manager. I would get her to text me pictures of what it actually looked like when it arrived. We wanted to make sure that what our customers were getting, we approved of it. Everything was certified. That was something that we took from the pandemic and made a totally new product line program here at DocRx.
One thing that I've watched you with through consulting with DocRx is that you have taken some stuff that has now months later sat on the shelf and you found a way to repackage. So talk about what repackaging is to you.
Well, we just decided to get a little creative and I noticed a trend was people were ordering, some masks, gloves, sanitizer. So we just decided let's make a little PPE package. And that way, if they need anything, then they can just order, get the PPE package that has everything in it.
They're really buying more products at one time.
Yes. I do like the fact that with DocRx, in the pandemic, and it seemed like at a point, they felt like maybe their jobs weren't secure or something. I do love the fact that we could come in and get people's doors opened quickly. I know that we did, supply some hydration therapy clinics with some PPE, and they couldn't open their doors because they didn't have masks, they didn't have sanitizer, they didn't have gloves. So they reached out to us and, they thanked us because we were able to open their doors when they couldn't because they didn't have the proper gear to open. And then also just, for DocRx, for people in the company, it's like the PPE, help DocRx
secure jobs outside and inside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, you've been with DocRx a long time.
10 years.
10 years. Yep. Oh, well, congratulations.
Thank you. It's actually my first job right out of college. So,
what was your major?
Marketing management.
Really?
Yeah.
But you kind of do that because you take care of house accounts and you get DocRx out there. Because you've been there 10 years, you've seen the technology change. So the growth.
The technology change? Yes. It's so funny. Just I appreciate DocRx on so many levels because I saw the baby grow, I guess you could say. Brian and I used to speakerphone each other and we didn't even have phones to where you could just transfer a line or anything. It was so funny. And then, we were all in just this one little building. And, for me, it's crazy because I used to just barge in Brian's office. I'm like, hey, Brian. Now he's got 2 gatekeepers. It's like you got to schedule a meeting with him. I'm like, what is this?
He has grown.
Yeah.
And the people, I think, have stayed with him a long time for a bunch of good reasons, too.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, with that technology, you've actually got an online catalog now.
Correct, yeah.
All right, so for any kind of needs, but you sell PPE stuff outside of medical clinics, right?
Yes, we do. We did make sure to get all of the medical staff their PPE first. And then once we felt like everyone was stocked up and had what they needed and we had an abundant supply, that's when we reached out to businesses here locally.
Now, can you tell us some popular groups that have bought PPE from you guys?
We actually sold to the Boston Celtics through the pandemic. I had someone reach out and they're like, I'm trying to get masks. It's for a professional sports team. And I'm just curious. I'm like, who? And they're like, the Boston Celtics. I was like, that's cool. We had some big groups like MD Anderson that purchased them. That was really neat.
Were there any others?
Yeah. So actually there was the Arizona Diamondbacks, and the San Francisco Giants. What's crazy, what we wound up providing them were they needed Lysol type wipes for when they were traveling so they could wipe down the hotel rooms themselves. So that's something that, a lot of our clinics needed the, big cans of wipes, but something that was different that was needed and on a shortage nationwide was the packs of wipes. So, I found those and we were able to supply those 2 Major League Baseball teams with them.
So I'm wondering if the marketing department has kind of leaned and targeted to go off in that area too, or are they just still concentrating on clinics?
Oh, sports? Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. We have a couple of Major League Baseball teams that do dispensing with us. So,
okay.
We already have some relationships, but I love sports. We know Brian loves sports. So that's, really cool to get to try to venture out into that area as well, that field.
I see a vision for DocRx as limitless. I see, a future world with online, e-commerce, ordering, the Office Depot of the medical supplies.
Yes, absolutely.
Because we have over 30,000 different products at this time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we're the biggest in the nation?
I would say we're on up there for sure. Yeah.
So about how many clinics across the nation do you service, do you know?
Oh, it's several hundred. And when I say several hundred, just one of those is a really big clinic. They have lots of locations. So, we're all over the place. That's what's crazy to me is 10 years ago when I worked at DocRx, it was like, where do you work at DocRx? Well, it was just Brian and myself and someone else. So it's like, what's that? Now when I say I work at DocRx, people are like, oh, do you know, Mary Frances, or do you know this person or that? And I'm like, yes, this so, it's so crazy. People know who we are now.
It's definitely gotten out there.
Yeah.
Another thing I like about the site is that people can go and order, but there's also a tab to go ahead and pay for it.
Yes, so that's a new feature we have, and it's amazing. We should have had it years ago. But even 10 years ago, we didn't even have a website. So just to see how far we've come from that point, helping our customers and also just, making it more convenient for the people that work at DocRx, that pay your invoice tab. Everybody, I know I go online to pay my medical bills.
Right.
Honestly, when I don't see a website I can pay my invoice, pay my bill, I'm like, oh gosh, I gotta call the clinic, get transferred, maybe leave a voicemail, it's just convenient.
It is just
convenient.
Convenience. I'd like to talk at some point in the future too about the online catalog, building that into a full e-commerce.
Oh, absolutely.
I definitely see that as a goal.
Yeah.
Big time in my head. Do I see a full Office Depot type for medical supplies? And I think you are the perfect person to help that grow.
Well, I definitely like just how we're talking about, a convenience thing. That would fall under that category for convenience for my department, for the clinics, just to order on demand. They already have a website where they can order their prepackaged medication on. So, it'd be nice too to just have a little extra spot for them to order their supplies, what they need.
So basically, we have a resource in our own backyard here in Mobile.
Yeah.
So really the whole Southeast.
Well, yeah. And then outside of medical clinics, I know that, restaurants, like you look around, they need gloves, they need sanitizer, they need the same thing that some of these clinics need to be able to operate.
All right. You hear that, y'all? If you need PPE stuff, you have somebody local. It's all about local. Last Saturday was Shop Local. We have the resources here in town. So reach out, DocRx.com.
So, yeah, restaurants, grocery stores, even mom and pop places.
Airbus,
yeah, Ostel.
Big places,
yeah, right
small
there.
places.
Yeah. So, these are products that our hospitals need, but also our local businesses need, no matter how small, no matter how big. So, they're going to need these things, and I don't see that changing anytime soon.
So if any businesses out there listening, because that's what we do, is we give information to businesses. So how do they find PPE with DocRx?
They can call the office line, 251-342-9477, or if it's okay for me to give out my email address, they can email me directly if they'd like. That's Ashley Smith, ASHLEY, Smith, SMITH, at DocRx, DocRx.com. So Ashley Smith at DocRx.com. We have some stuff here in Mobile, and we have some stuff up in northern Alabama. It would all be to them in just a day.
Okay, great. So DocRx.com.
Mm-hmm.
All right, on this show, we give a cheers. All right, cheers to something. So My cheers of the day would be cheers to being innovative and adaptive to grow your business and help other businesses grow. All right, what's your cheers?
But your cheers was so good. Cheers to the holidays for me, where I get a little time off.
All right, cheers to working hard when a pandemic hits.
Yes.
Cheers to also having that life balance.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Ashley Smith, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Please be sure to subscribe to Cheers to Business podcast on iTunes or anywhere else that you get your podcast. Visit our Facebook and be sure to give us a like. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to discuss, shoot us an email from the website cheerstobusiness.com.